This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets.
Oil prices fell in early Asian trading on Monday, erasing gains from Friday as Israel-Hamas peace talks in Cairo eased fears of a wider conflict in the Middle East, and U.S. inflation data further dimmed the prospects of interest rate cuts anytime soon. Brent crude futures fell by as much as $1, or 1.1% to $88.50 a barrel before ticking back up to $88.55 at 0149 GMT. West Texas Intermediate futures were down 84 cents, or 1%, at $83.01 a barrel. Stepped-up efforts to mediate a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas moderated geopolitical tensions and contributed to the weak opening on Monday, IG market analyst Tony Sycamore said. A Hamas delegation will visit Cairo on Monday for peace talks, a Hamas official told Reuters.
Italy sees a role for nuclear energy, alongside renewable energy sources, to meet the country's net zero emission target by 2050, Energy Minister Gilberto Pichetto Fratin said on Sunday. Nuclear energy is a controversial issue in Italy, where nuclear-fired power plants were banned after Italians voted in a 2011 referendum against a law for a national nuclear program. Pichetto, who will head negotiations among energy ministers of the Group of Seven, G7, most industrialized countries starting on Monday in Turin, said that nuclear energy would allow Italy to protect the environment, but also reach complete independence on the energy front.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
China's economy has become much less energy-intensive over the last 40 years as its industries have modernized and the economy has shifted towards more service sector output. But energy intensity has flatlined for the last 5 years, making it much harder to displace coal by renewables and meet the government's objective of capping total emissions. China converted 1 ton of standard coal or its equivalent in other forms of energy, including wind and solar generation, into gross domestic product worth 21,000 yuan in 2023.
Russian oil producers cut fuel production in April compared to a year earlier due to Ukrainian drone attacks, Russia's Kommersant daily newspaper reported on Saturday, citing sources. High-octane gasoline output decreased by 0.8% compared to the same period a year earlier to 2.57 million tons in the period from April 1 to April 23, it said. Since the start of the year, output had fallen by 0.6% to 13.08 million tons. Refineries had reduced production of diesel fuel by 2.8% over the same 23 days in April, to 5.06 million tons, and by 1.5% since the beginning of the year, to 25.96 million tons, Kommersant reported. Next, we have the top news in metal markets. Iron ore futures prices fell on Monday after weak industrial data in top consumer China, while most steelmakers completing their pre-holiday restocking ahead of May Day also weighed on sentiment. The most traded September iron ore contract on China's Dalian Commodity Exchange traded 0.17% lower at 877 yuan and 50 fen, $121.09, a metric ton, as of 0243 GMT. It, however, has climbed more than 14% so far this month. The benchmark May iron ore on the Singapore exchange was 0.64% lower at $117.10 a ton.
Copper prices moved higher on Monday, driven by dwindling raw material supply and investors' focus on a potential BHP Group Anglo-American deal that would make the world's largest copper miner. 3-month copper on the London Metal Exchange advanced 0.5% to $10,018.50 per metric ton by 0453 GMT, a 2-year high. The most traded June copper contract on the Shanghai Futures Exchange was up 0.8% to 81,020 yuan, $11,184.12 per ton.
We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector.
Additional tests of milk showed that pasteurization killed the bird flu virus, federal health officials said on Friday, as Colorado became the 9th U.S. state to report an infected dairy herd. Federal lawmakers urged the Biden administration to further contain the virus spread as tests showed 1 in 5 U.S. commercial milk samples contained remnants of the virus, suggesting the outbreak is more widespread than previously thought. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration late on Friday said preliminary results from gold standard PCR testing showed pasteurization killed the virus in milk and baby formula. It did not say how many milk products it had tested but added that it plans to do more testing on 297 products from 38 states.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.